Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program. Amid rising prices of goods and additional taxes on fuel,
Nireklamo na kami noon na wala pang train na mataas na yung inflation. And here comes the train, napakabilis at napaka-furious ng inflation.
Lawmakers are now mulling over suspending the tax reform law.
Sa ating pag-aaral ay makita natin ito ay dapat i-suspend, open naman tayo sa possibility niya.
The government warns that it will do more harm than good.
Kung ititigil naman natin ito at matitigil ang build, yung mga trabahong inasahan, yung mga additional na kita sa mga negosyo na magge-generate ng build, maantala rin.
But Malacañang says it's up to Congress to decide. House and Ways Committee Chairman Congressman Dakila Cua joins us live. And later, from the Marvel Universe to Harry Potter's School of Hogwarts. A crossover you wouldn't want to miss. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Malacañang says President Rodrigo Duterte would have no choice but to comply if lawmakers pass a bill suspending the tax reform law. But this early, the palace, as well as the finance department, are giving reasons why suspending the measure could be bad for consumers. It explains revenue from additional taxes will fund a number of government services and other programs like free tuition in state universities and colleges. But can the tax reform law be suspended? Let's go straight to the source of the story. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Congressman Dakila Cua. Congressman, welcome to the show. It's your first time.
Morning, Pinky. Thank you for having me. Please call me Dax.
I can't do that, sir. I have to call you Congressman. Congressman, have you reviewed the impact of the train law?
We're currently doing the numbers. We're still asking the finance department, the economic managers, to submit even a more in-depth study. And but parallel to this, we're also talking about the possibility of suspending what kind of measure will be passed, what kind of metrics will be used or triggers can be looked into as kasi pagka nalagyan natin ng suspension, lalagyan din natin ang possibility of resumption. So ano ba yung mga findings niya, anong parameters of our economy ang gagamitin dyan. So yun ang mga pinag-uusapan yan.
Pero you get your source from your reference, your study and analysis from the finance department, sir?
We get our numbers from the economic managers. Yes.
Yeah, that's the government. It is the government also that passed that gave the recommendations for the train law. So sila din.
Kasi sila ang nandyan po ang Philippine Statistics Authority na nagme-measure ng inflation. Sila rin naman naglabas ng 4.5%. So we just have to trust their numbers. And we also counter that o binabalanse natin by asking the academe and perhaps industry and interest groups to validate the numbers of government.
So the status, would you say right now, is you're waiting from an evaluation from the economic managers? Yun ho bang status ngayon?
Yes, but while waiting for their numbers and their reports, we're also studying on what are the possible mechanisms that the committee may consider putting into a bill and putting forth to the plenary na para pag-usapan, ito ba ang inflation rate ba natin ipepeg yan? Or is it the breach in the target inflation rate, or are we going to talk about revenues? So those things are the ones that we need to talk about.
So you need to talk about that so that you can form a bill that you can pass through plenary. The question is, nasa na ho kayo in terms of itong bill na to na pinag-aaralan nyo?
We're doing the conceptualization part right now. It will probably take a week or a few more days. The concept itself is not so difficult.
What is the concept? What do you mean by that?
Kasi syempre, pag gusto natin i-suspend, saan natin i-attach? Pwede naman kasi natin bigay blanket yung authority ng presidente na i-suspend. Pero sana mas targeted. Pag sinabi natin nag-reach ng 4.5% or nag-breach or lumampas ng 4.7, ano ba talagang parameter? Ano ba talagang mahirap ng i-manage? And then, we're also looking at, pwede bang i-contain yung suspension yan? Ibig sabihin, a group of people in the economy, may may suspended. I don't know, it seems very difficult to do that. Pwede bang ganon? So that the rich can continue to pay the excise tax, but the poor can be saved, or something like that.
So you're talking about the excise taxes on fuel?
Yes, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your study, is there a possibility that there will only be certain provisions in the train law that will be suspended? Kasi ang sinasabi po, suspend the train law. Are we looking at suspending the law or provisions in the law, sir?
Ako, Pinky, hindi ko i-recommend na yung buong train law i-suspend natin. Marami namang magandang benefits to eh. Yung mga less tax deductions na ating mga manggagawa. So pag binalik natin yung old law, mas malaki na naman yung tax deductions. Lalo silang mahihirapan. The train law, sabi ng ating economic managers, only account for 4.4% of that 4.5% inflation. So baka mamaya, sinuspend natin yung train law, yung baba ng presyo, hindi ganun ka-significant. Kasi hindi naman yun ang major contributor to the increase in prices. Tapos wala pa silang deduction sa lumaki na naman yung tax deduction nila, lalo silang nahihirapan.
Okay, pero to simplify it, sir, and I don't know if this is fair, but I guess it would be fair to consumers on how much their peso is right now. Let's listen to some of the reactions of consumers regarding grocery shopping and how much prices have actually increased.
Kailangan nyo yun. Dahil dyan sa train long yan, malaki ang ano mo, kailangan konti higpit ng sinduron. Dati, yung 8 nagiging 12, yung 4 na piso nagiging 5 piso. Kaya kailangan mag-budget ka maigi.
I'd like to add to that because I have a source. Somebody from our team actually was saying that they used to go grocery shopping at 2,500. Now, for the same amount of grocery items, they are now spending 3,000 pesos. So how do you explain that to the consumers? And how can you explain that even if the government says, only 0.4% of the 4.5 inflation is caused by the train law? At the end of the day, they say the 2.5 is 3,000 right now.
Okay, I don't want to argue with our sources na talagang tumataas ang presyo. Kahit naman ako nararamdaman ko yan. Alam mo ba na yung pamilya namin ngayon, we all sleep in one room, me, my wife, and our kids, para isang aircon lang. So, you do your own share of tipid para nang hindi ka rin mahirapan. But syempre, doon sa mas mahirap, mas malaking impact niyan eh. Yung piso, yung 2 piso, malaking bagay sa kanila. That's why, that's really the point of discussion, or at least sana yan ang pinag-uusapan natin. How do we help the poor? Kasi when we talk about suspending the train law, even the well-off families, yung mga may kaya, even yung mga bankero, bilyonaryo, makikinabang pagka bumaba yung presyo ng bilihin na makakapagtipid sa kanilang negosyo. So, it's really a socio-political discussion that we need to have. And yung 0.4% na yan, maliit sa mga taong may kaya, pero malaki dun sa mga taong walang-wala. That's why, yung kakambal kasi ng train law, meron yan nakalagay dyan na social benefits card. I know I've said this, but I cannot emphasize it enough.
Yeah.
Please, ating DSWD Secretary at Transport Secretary, bilisan naman po natin.
Sa pag-usapan po natin yun, because yan pong inaaray ng mga tao, there's a promise of a social protection provision or clause. Where is government, andito na ho tayo, nandiyan ang batas, ipinasa ninyo ang batas, both houses of Congress, pero meron pong pangako that there will be a social protection provision. Are people getting it?
Well, dun sa marami kasing features yung social protection. Una dun sa unconditional cash transfer. 10 million families po yata ang covered. Nasa 1.5 or 2 million pa lang ang naro-roll out. So, late na po yan. Yung pong social benefits card natin, magbibigay sana ng diskwenta sa ating mga minimum wage earners so that when they go to work, this 10% discount ang transpo nila. 10% discount on medicine. Rice assistance for those who are unemployed para may makain yung pamilya.
Are they getting that?
Wala pa pong IRR. So yun po ang kinukulit natin na sana bilisan na.
Whose fault is that?
I don't want to point fingers, but
who's responsible for that then?
That's what I'm trying to say na when we were discussing this and when congressmen and senators, in fairness, were asking the government, what are you going to do if this happens? They said, we have a battery of social programs. Now, where are those programs? Kasi pinangako nyo yan sa amin na i-roll out natin sa taong bayan.
I think it's good to really identify them again, Congressman. Doon sa conditional cash transfer, dapat 10 million po ang magbe-benefit. Almost 2 million pa lang ang nakakatanggap.
10 million families. So that's, if there's 4 in a family, that's 40 million
Right.
Filipinos that benefit from that. Pero nasa 1 to 2 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Lagay na po natin sa 2 million yan. There are 8 million, sir, who are not getting what they're supposed to be getting and the prices have gone up.
Yes.
How unfair is that?
It's very unfair. It's very unfair. That's why it's undefensible na kailangan talaga we should step up in doing this. But that's why naintindihan natin yung sinasabi ng ating yung sa video clip na kailangan belt tightening. Lalo na yung talagang walang kinikita, lalo na silang nahihirapan. So yun talaga ang punot dulo nito. The solution is really roll out services, and hindi naman tayo kailangan malimit dun sa services mandated by train. Kung gusto natin dagdagan pa yung bigas na bibigay natin, we can do that. Basket of goods, we give canned goods, whatever, noodles, kape, pwede naman natin i-roll out. Ang problema, let's start doing it now. Not next month, not 3 months from now. Let's do it now.
So the conditional cash transfer, let's put it at 2 million, have benefited so far out of the 10 million. And then you talked about rice subsidy. Has that been rolled out? Hindi pa po.
As per my report, not yet. Kasi wala
Zero.
pang IRR.
Okay. At ano pa ho yung isa?
Meron pa yung discount on medicines, discount on
At the 10%.
transportation. It will be attached to a benefits card. that the
Hindi ho
government
ba
will-
sana minsan mas maganda na lang po isipin na kapag tataas na po ang presyo ng mga bilihin and petroleum, kasabay na po yung binibigay na benepisyo sana para sabay.
Actually, that's the commitment. That's the commitment that Congress got from the economic managers na pagkasimula ng train, simula na rin yan. So yun po ang sinisingil natin yan.
We'll be taking a short break. This is the source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, with rising prices of goods, labor groups are now calling for a wage hike. Congressman Dakila Cua shares his thoughts after the break. Also, a dream cinematic crossover from the Avengers to the Witch and Wizards of Hogwarts. That's for today's In Focus. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Congressman Dakila Cua. Sir, I was asking you during the break so that the viewers can hear. Baka naman sabihin nila walang budget dito dun sa sinasabi nating social protection provision.
Meron po kasi nung ating pinapasa yung GAA, tinignan natin na meron talaga dyan yung unconditional cash transfer. I think at an amount of 22 billion. So meron talaga. Kailangan lang bilisan nating i-distribute dun sa mga nangangailangan.
So, what is your appeal to the economic managers who promised Congress that sana kasabay ng pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin is a social protection provisions to the Filipino people?
Well, my appeal is listen to the people. The people are clamoring. They want to suspend train. I am open to that. We can do that. Perhaps not the entire train, maybe just the petroleum, let's talk about that. Pero when we do that, tingin ko lang kasi hindi mamimit yung expectation natin na bababa ng husto yung mga presyo. Kawawa pa rin yung tao. Ang kailangan talaga yung pag-roll out ng serbisyo. And we don't need to suspend any law for that. We really need to roll out the services. But kung tatagalan nga nila yung pag-implement, we might as well just suspend the oil tax kung matatagalan yung pag-roll out.
Is there a time frame you're looking at in the event, sir, that the social provisions are not rolled out? Naiisip niyo ho ba kung by June wala pa rin to or July, Congress will suspend certain provisions in the train law?
I think by July, kasi we're going on recess after tomorrow, I think.
Today,
Today is the last plenary day. So pagkatapos nito, babalik kami ng SONA. Sa tingin ko, pag SONA hindi pa na-roll out to, galit na talagang taong bayan, we will have no choice. We will really need to address the concerns of the people.
But can you clarify that kung hindi ito ma-roll out? Minsan ho kasi sasabihin, na-roll out naman ng 50%. Would you be happy with that? I mean, what kind of rollout or percentage of the rollout would you be happy with so as not to suspend the train law?
It's not my power, Pink. It's the power of the people. If the people are happy, they're not clamoring, they think things are working out, they feel that government's helping them, then maybe there's no need. But if the people are unsatisfied, when people are going hungry, when government owes them some services, then yeah.
Do you think the train law was a mistake?
No. I wouldn't say that. The train law is more than just that. It's socio-economic justice. I keep saying na it's always the vision is clear with the benefit of hindsight. Pag tinignan mo patalikod, makikita mo talaga na malinaw. So at this point in time, perhaps we would say dapat walang ganito dapat walang oil or dapat konti lang yan Pero siguro kung next year bumaba na ang presyo ng crudo, the economy is booming, maybe we would say tama yung train law. So it really depends when and what we're looking with.
And what the circumstances are. Yeah. So let's talk about certain provisions that you are considering to suspend. What would they be? You talked about number one, the excise tax, sir.
Right now, I would limit it to discussing the fuel. Because,
yun lang po
Kasi yung sugar beverages at yung tobacco, designed talaga yun to curb consumption At yung sasakyan naman, designed din yon to medyo help ease the traffic a little bit. I don't know how effective it will be. We need the numbers to come out. But yung petroleum, maybe that's the one we really need to take a deeper look into.
So let's look at that, the excise tax on petroleum products, sir. My understanding is, can Congress, through a bill, suspend the excise tax on petroleum? I ask you that, sir, because there is something here that says that, I think it's Undersecretary Carl Cua of the DOF. He was saying that you can't just suspend the existing rate. They can only suspend the next increase if the condition is met. I believe we have that soundbite from Undersecretary Carl Cua of the DOF. Let's listen.
There's also a provision in the train law that says that we cannot suspend the existing rate. We can only suspend the next increase if the condition is met.
Can you explain that to us?
I think what he's trying to say is, in the law, ang threshold niyan is $80 per barrel.
Right. No? An average of $80 per barrel for 3 months.
Pag na-meet yata yan, 3 months prior to the increase, which will be January 2019, another 2 pesos. Pag nag-$80 ang average ng 3 months before that, hindi matutuloy yung 2 pesos in January 2019. Yun ang ibig niya sabihin. He's basically saying, yung na-increase na this year, mukhang walang provision dyan.
Magkano po yung na-increase this year?
$2.50 for diesel.
$2.50. Let's stick to that. So, now that the USEC is saying that, so it's clear to us, yung sinasabi na, an average of 3 months at $80 per barrel, you can increase, pero you can suspend. Ang pwede lang isuspend yung susunod na increase next year sana na 2 piso. Pero nag-increase na po tayo ng 2 pesos and 50 centavos. Can you ever, sir, suspend the initial increase of 2.50?
That's what we're trying to talk about. Na we will now come up with a bill that will perhaps authorize the executive to temporarily suspend with the possibility of resumption, that 250, that's already in place. So yan ang pwedeng pag-usapan ngayon.
And you're amenable to that?
We're open to that, especially if we find out that that's really the solution. At kung lalo na kung magtatagal yung pag-roll out ng social benefits card, then I think we have no choice.
But how would you describe the 250 increase? I know that some would say hindi naman ganito kalaki yung epekto nito sa consumers. But when you really think about it, it's transportation, it's farm to market products. It's a lot of things, sir. How big do you think of an impact would suspending the excise tax right now of the 250 would have on consumers?
The oil excise tax, I don't know about the specific 250 on diesel, but the entire oil excise tax accounts for about, for every peso is about, I think, 23 billion pesos
23 billion.
per year collection of government. Okay,
So sorry, sa isang piso po na increase, ay ang kikitain po ng gobyerno ay 23
to 25, yes.
Let's put it at 25 billion.
Billion.
Okay.
So that's going to be about 60 billion for 1 year. So if you suspend it for 6 months, it's about 30 billion. Yung 30 billion na yun, mas maganda kasing kolektahin natin and then roll out natin targeted to the poor. But yun na nga, doon tayo pa ikot-ikot Bakit ang tagal? Anong nangyayari? I hope somebody comes out and explains to the public na si agency ganito ay gumagalaw na, ito na ang progress namin, and by this time we will be rolling out the subsidies. Sana naman may ganon so that we can sleep at night knowing it's coming. Somebody's taking charge.
Would you say that you're quite disappointed with the economic managers because of how active they were in pushing for this bill? Ngayon po, parang sinasabi niyo po, nobody's really explaining this.
Yeah, I've said it before. I wish they would work faster talaga. Kahapon, to be fair, kasama ko si Asek Lambino of DOF, and I told him, can we set up next week a roundtable discussion, interagency, kahit na hindi official to, kahit na papatawag natin itong mga ahensyang concerned. At least pag-usapan na saan na kayo at ano nang rollout date nyo, anong target niyo.
Yeah.
So that the next time DOF can start explain to the people na ito na, may plano tayo, ito mangyayari.
There was also an explanation by Paula Alvarez, who is the Finance Assistant Secretary and Finance Spokesperson. Pakinggan po natin because they've been giving some sound bites here and there. So pakinggan po natin.
Based on surveys and on the studies conducted by NEDA, BSP, and the DOF, train loss impact on actual inflation is only 0.4%. So it's only 0.4%. So this means that regardless of whether we impose the train law, the prices of fuel will still go up. Because number one, the main driver of the inflation rate for crude from oil is that the global market is actually increasing the price of oil. But I think talks in the OPEC and Russia is that I think they're going to produce more. They were going to produce more oil, so this would actually help us in the long run because it would help decrease the price of oil. Now, other factors such as the depreciation of peso is also significant.
All right, so two things, sir. Prices in the world market are increasing, and the depreciation of the peso. In fact, I think it was 2 days ago, parang intraday low ang peso. 52.40 ata. Yeah. So, is that a good defense?
No, that's accurate. What Asek Paula said is true. Kaya nga sinasabi ko rin na let's think about it. Kasi baka yung pag-suspend ng fuel only brings down prices by an insignificant amount. Tapos gutom pa rin yung tao. Tapos walang collection ng gobyerno na ibibigay na serbisyo sa taong bayan.
Yeah, but I guess that's what I want to discuss, sir. Kung ibaba, tanggalin po yung excise tax, tapos maliit lang po ang tanggalin sa cost, yung pagbayad po ng tao ng consumers. Ano po nag-cost ng increase? Then it would be what? The world market and the depreciation of the peso?
Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, mag-usap tayo ng tapatan na hindi naman lahat ng increase galing sa train eh. Meron naman talagang ibang negosyo dyan na piso lang ang taas ng cost niya, pero yung taas ng selling price niya ay 5 piso. Meron naman talaga nagsasamantala na tinatawag natin profiteering. And when that happens, it aggravates the situation. Yeah. That's why, parallel to this, I have to commend the economic managers. They're really rolling out the team naman na price, checking the price.
Price monitoring team.
DTI are going around. At least that's happening. And thank you for doing that. But kakambal niyan yung serbisyo na hinihintay ng taong bayan.
Yeah. And hopefully nga magkita-kita po kayo next week for a roundtable discussion so you have a better idea and you can also give us a better idea on what's really happening. So wage hikes, sir. I want to put this graphics on. Ang sabi po kasi ng TUCP, 512 pesos is the minimum wage for Metro Manila. Tapos ang ano po daw niyan, ang purchasing power during April 25 was 357 pesos. Pagdating po ng May, 326 pesos na lang po. So natanggalan niya ng more or less 21 pesos or 31 pesos, sorry, in 1 month. That's huge, sir.
No nga, malaki.
So now they're clamoring for a wage hike. What are your thoughts on that? Is it something you support?
Well, yung sa wage hike, first, I wouldn't recommend na i-legislate yung wages. Kasi kasama yata yan sa usapan. So parang mahirap yun. Every time we need to adjust it, pupunta tayo sa Kongreso, ang tagal-tagal. So wag na. Let's just put mechanisms para ma-adjust, flexible yung wages. Doon sa wage hike, kasama yan sa problem ng increase in prices eh. So perhaps a temporary mechanism can also be explored or perhaps social protection measures can also be employed. So it really depends. It can be a temporary
Sorry,
setup.
sir, but if it's social protection provisions we employed, the first set of social protection provisions were not employed. And then now
Yes.
you're again talking about social.
Yes.
Hindi ho ba kayo
But maybe this-
nagsasawa pag-usapan ng social protection provision dahil hindi po nangyayari?
Kasi trabaho ng government na mag-intervene di ba? Kailangan ng gobyerno mag-mitigate ng problema. So, but this one will be addressed by perhaps baka the labor secretary, baka naman mas mabilis yung rollout niya.
Right. It seems the tripartite board is really looking into this, and yeah, I understand that it is, if they go to Congress,
Mas mahirap yata.
mas mahirap at mas matagal pa, ikaw na nagsabi niya. All right, Congressman, I hope we can have you again once you have a clearer picture. It's really good to find out exactly yung mga pangako na social protection provisions. It sounded so good in paper and verbally, pero ang problema po hindi nangyayari. Sana po ma-roll out yan very soon. Congressman Dakila Cua, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Salamat, Pinky.
Thank
It's
you.
an honor to be here.
Thank you, sir. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, legendary comic book creator Stan Lee is making a pitch that will excite Marvel and Harry Potter fans. What's it about? Find out on today's In Focus.